In 1964, John Dominus Holt published an essay entitled On Being Hawaiian. It was regarded by many in the Hawaiian community as a revelation, a glimpse into the soul of a man whose sentiments resonated with uncanny familiarity.
Hawaiians don't care. This had been a familiar theme in my growing up, and it was understandable to me in later years why this had become the theme song of so many Hawaiians. Disillusionment or rank disinterest are welcomed abstractions where psychic pain is so great it is difficult or impossible to search for and to find comforting antidotes to the reality of loss and defeat. The broken spirit battens on shattered dreams. Illusion and despair combine to make bitterness attractive, or in reverse, the ceaseless search for pleasure, if not euphoria, becomes a passionately sought-after way of life. Most Hawaiians in the years of my growing up took one of these two paths as a way of life. In between these extremes stood the few who adapted and abided, but among them were those who blinded themselves somehow to the widespread evidence of the ancient culture of our Hawaiian ancestors having been wantonly destroyed, and that among the few surviving people of Hawaiian ancestry, many floundered at the edges of life, bewildered, poor, and cynical. The pleasure seekers were, of course, up high on their particular heights, the weary and sad down low, groveling in misery, confusion, and rancor. And in between were the fence sitters, the imitation haole of the lower or upper classes. Very little creative work was done by part Hawaiians like myself of chiefly background. Occupying a privileged place in the new and artificial culture, we could not escape the facts. So we laughed and cavorted or smoldered in bitterness. We were almost gleefully indifferent to the fact that so many of our people were poor, that too many of our young were in jail. Our lands, except for those held by ironclad trust estates and run by haules, were gone. Strangers were everywhere living off the fat of the land. Hawaiians, the majority of us were poor. Most of us could not make it in this culture and seemed not to care about making it. To many of us, haole culture was a farce, a mess, its values questionable, its goals silly and not worth fighting for. Times change. People change. There has been a vast awakening among us Hawaiians of the importance of knowing in some depth about our heritage, our roots. Young people now say we must know about our history. We must find our roots. We want to learn about this in our way. Our young people look now with fervor to the possibility of becoming once again Hawaiians in spirit. They march, they carry placards, they read. More importantly, they have learned to speak out, to externalize rage and frustration. They have begun to sense, as only a Hawaiian can sense this particular thing, that a greatness, something intangible yet powerful and enduring, belonged to our people. They know that some of this lives on in us. We are links to the ancients, connected by inheritance to their mana, their wisdom, their superb appreciation of what it is to be human. This is the foundation of the aloha spirit. Yes, I am prouder than ever to be a Hawaiian. All around is evidence that there is reason to be proud, that there is work to do, and we are willing to take on the job.
On Being Hawaiian created a silent energy, which provided the spark that ignited a generation to action, giving seed to the Hawaiian Renaissance. Although the Hawaiian Renaissance movement originally had no clear political objectives, it did reveal a genuine sense of inquiry and a thirst for a more logical history that was otherwise absent in contemporary books.
Went to Kamehameha schools. My parents were really glad because they felt if I was going to succeed, then I had to learn the white man's ways. So the purpose of me going to Kamehameha was so that I could be a successful haole. And everybody knew that, and everybody accepted that yeah, you have to learn how to talk good English, and you have to know the way of the white man in order to succeed. That was how you're going to be successful in the future. When I was 14 years old, I started hunting, and I got hooked into hunting. I mean, it was like I was going to be a hunter. So that got me into a lot of trouble because the deer didn't understand no trespassing. The deer didn't understand keep out. And I had to follow the deer, otherwise I wouldn't be able to feed my family. So landowners hated me, Molokai Ranch hated me. Because I couldn't get a job, I had to hunt every day. It made me think a little bit different. You had to be more of an independent thinker. I didn't rely on anybody so that I could raise my family. I had to rely totally on myself. And it was the kupuna who gave me direction. Kamehameha School gave me the ability to read and write, and the kupuna gave me the reason to read and write. But we started learning how to organize through Queen Lilokalani Children's Center. That combination and my ability to go in whatever direction allowed me to follow the visions of the kupuna. But times have changed. They locked the gates. There was no access to the resources that allowed them to survive. So for me, my two major focuses was access and having those resources there and available for me to survive. So here we are on Molokai. We need access, we need our resources. The ranch comes into Molokai and they lock all the gates. They stop all the access for the people on 2/3 of the island, where all the fish are, all the deer are. So in order for us to get what we need, we had to organize. So we formed a group called Hui Alaloa. It was based on the ability of Hawaiians to walk around every island that was guaranteed by Kamehameha I in his first law that was punishable by death. So that was Mamaloho Kanawai. So we used that law as our foundation to keep us alive and surviving. So it's Kamehameha's, gift to us. We got a phone call from Maui saying, hey, we're going to do something on Kaho'olawe. You guys want to help out? I said, shoot, what's going on? I said, oh, we need somebody to do the hunting. Okay, because we got to eat when we're on Kaho'olawe. I didn't understand Kaho'olawe at all, the politics of Kaho'olawe. So Charlie Maxwell was the one who organized us, and we went over. And the way things turned out, we became the leaders of Kaho'olawe for whatever reasons. And that island was the turning point of my whole life. Kaho'olawe became the island that spoke to me and said, I am dying. I am dying. And I said, okay, I have to go and save this island.
Ship and ground forces of the United States Navy, Army, Air Force, Marine Corps, Coast Guard, and by Allied naval forces. Training facilities afforded at Kaho'olawe for all services cannot be duplicated at any of the existing training areas in the Hawaii area. The most significant value of Kaho'olawe is that it is the only facility in the Hawaiian area permitting the training necessary for military forces to effectively coordinate the employment of all available supporting arms.
To the point where we took on the United States of America. Who in your right mind would take on not just the United States, but the United States military, right? And the irony of the whole battle was we became the activists, we became the aggressors, we were the bad guys, we were the guys that was pilau, And the military, who has all the guns, the battleships, the bombs, everything, they were the good guys. And we were militants. We had nothing. All we had was tea leaves on our heads, tea leaves on our tea leaves to protect us from all the bombs. That's all we had. And then the kupuna gave us the ultimate weapon, right? The kupuna told us there is no more powerful thing than aloha. That we can kill them with aloha. What, Auntie? Yes. Ooh, you know? And that's aloha aina. So the love of the land was going to conquer the United States military. And it did.
Imua, Kaho'olawe! One more time! Imua!
I love my island of Kaho'olawe. From the beginning, your name was Kanaloa, the god. You are the southern beacon, barren and without population, until the young appeared and they brought you peace. Let us band together, people of Hawaii, from sunup to sundown. Stand together and follow. Be strong, people. We are but a few. Great is our love for our land. Popular are the young people of Hawaii for the civil strife against the government. Together in one thought for the righteousness of our land. Forward, young people. Victory for Kaho'olawe. Popular are the young people of Hawaii for the civil strife against the government. Together in one thought for the righteousness of the land. Forward, young people. Victory for Kaho'olawe.
Oh, there's no regrets because they stopped the bombing. So it's like, yeah, I would do it all over again.
As a result, Native Hawaiians began to draw meaning from a history that appeared to parallel other peoples of similar circumstance. The Hawaiian Renaissance gradually branched out to form a political wing, often referred to as the Sovereignty Movement. This evolved into a political resistance of U.S. sovereignty over the Hawaiian Islands. As groups began to organize, the political movement mimicked the activism surrounding the women's liberation and the American civil rights movements. In 1972, ALOHA, Aboriginal Lands of Hawaiian Ancestry, was formed to seek reparations from the United States for its involvement with the overthrow of the Hawaiian Kingdom. Ohana o Hawaii, which formed in 1974, went so far as proclaiming a declaration of war against the United States. In 1975, Aloha joined with Hui Alaloa and formed PKO, or Protect Kaho'olawe Ohana. PKO's mission statement was simple and clear: stopped the U.S. Navy from using Kaho'olawe as target practice. The Hawaiian Sovereignty Movement is now clearly the most potent catalyst for change. During the 1980s and early 1990s, the sovereignty movement was transformed from an outlandish idea propagated by marginal groups into a legitimate political position supported by a majority of Native Hawaiians. Armed with PhDs and an unmistakable desire to remove the colonizers from the equation, Kaho'olawe stepped onto the scene in 1987 and instantly caught the attention of the Hawaiian community. Kaho'olawe's honest, albeit fiery brand of in-your-face speech sent a shockwave through the islands that invigorated the old guard and inspired the next generation. Whether you agree with their politics or not, the sovereignty movement's methods of communicating its initiative all but abolished complacency. Hui Na'awau, Kapakauko, Nation of Hawaii, the Hawaiian Patriotic League, and countless kingdoms and nations continue to dot the sovereignty landscape as they toil towards an independent Hawaii. The wheels are in motion, the facts are unimpeachable, and the proof overwhelming. All that remains is courage and cohesion.